You're listening to Olive Sections Unfiltered with Shakir. Previously on Olive Sections Unfiltered.
Will you marry this man? You no get to work. She said yes. Doesn't have a house. She said yes. Where are you going to live? She said God will provide. You see, her faith is an operation, not even the man's faith. So don't go and take somebody's daughter and force your faith on her. She does not have your faith. You can't force your faith on somebody else. It has to be her faith. So the man has to be able to say everything to the girl, and the girl has to be able to say, honey, let's go on. Those people I told you, as we speak, some of them have built their houses. Some of them, are living so well, sponsoring other people. Those are exceptions. It's not something we bring to the fore. But if it happens, you understand, please let them go ahead and get married. Not trying to please anybody. So all these things that society has placed on people, we need to break them and set people free. People need to get married. People in their 20, 21, 22, 23, boys 25, 26, people like Shekina should just go and get married. Listen, a woman that loves you, whatever you're eating now, she will eat it with you and be fine. If you tell her the truth, it will be a story. You'll be amazed that in 10 years, if that woman is blessed and you're blessed, what will happen with your lives? So there's a place of faith, but faith is not foolishness. Yes. Faith does not go to borrow. Then you are hoping that on the wedding day, people will spray you money. That's your money. That is presumption. That is foolishness from the pit of hell. That is Satan's siege on your life. Make sure that you just use what you have. Don't borrow to do a wedding. Don't ever try it. Please don't. You don't have to put smoke. You don't have to bring MC. You don't have to do any of those things. If your church is a church that understands, some churches, I'm sorry, don't really understand with people. So if they give you a hall, use that hall. Do the reception together. Let the pastor come and stand there. Where do you people? Reception will start immediately. You don't need to move from there and then drive to Kilimanjaro to go and do reception. All that stress is unnecessary. Finish there. And then if it's mineral you have, you give. If you don't have, tell them, please, we'll go for reception in 1 month. Do you understand? And what is reception? We'll just call all of you to come and eat. We'll have been married. Simple. So these are things that we need to
don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure.
No.
That's what we're trying to say. Okay, so let's talk about dealing with past experiences and past stigmas. So you mentioned rightly about ladies, although it's not just ladies that pass through hard times and toxic experiences, but how can someone who has had a toxic experience, a very bad negative experience, come out of that and get to a point where you can feel that, okay, there are still good people out there and I can still learn to trust and genuinely care for someone and be cared for by someone,
Okay, when I take my car to a mechanic and then we get to the mechanic and the mechanic begins to manifest insanity, I begin to notice that this mechanic is destroying my car. I can get very upset and get angry because this is my car. This is my bedroom I just bought. And this mechanic is using me to learn work. You see, point of freedom is to truly accept that I am in this shop today, not because the mechanic used juju to bring me. I drove this car by myself. So this mechanic workshop, so I'm back to responsibility. Tendency is that when you disengage from somebody, you want to paint the person black. So you're looking for ways. Some people even teach is look for the bad things the person have done, so that you can easily forget the person, One of the things you don't ever want to do is not take responsibility for your action. That's number one. You went to that relationship as an adult with your eyes open. You played your own role. So number two, understanding that the person has a choice to be in a relationship with you or not can also help to liberate you. You are not a manipulator, seducer, controller. You are not a witchcraft person. Marriage is by choice. 3, understanding that if this has happened, God just delivered you from something that shouldn't have been. gratitude. 4, the same thing we're saying. Do you have persons you're accountable to? When you share issues with them, they will talk with you. They will check up on you so you don't isolate. Because when you isolate, you talk to yourself. Satan talks to you. Demons talk to you. Everybody's blowing things out of proportion. That is what is called depression. You're there crying for nothing. You understand? Number 5, accept that God allowed you to genuinely love a person, one person. And now it's difficult to move on from that person. And as it's difficult to move on from that person, it means you're blessed. Because some people don't ever get themselves to the place where they can love one person. They don't even know what it is. So you're blessed that out of 3.4.5 billion women, that you could focus on only one. That means you're actually ready to marry. That means you can actually focus on one woman and shun every other person. So now, even though this one is no longer with you, they've left you, that means that you've been healed to the place where you are single-minded. Thank God for it. Number 6, try as much as possible to forgive. Every time the person comes to your mind, mutter to yourself, I have forgiven this person. I've forgiven Chiquita. Chiquita, I have forgiven you. You must be saying that to yourself, knowing that if you receive unforgiveness, bitterness will come in. James chapter 3 verse 16, the word of God says that where there's strife, there's envy, and envy, there's every evil work plus confusion. The word strife is a rhetoric. It means to divide, it means to separate. And then the word confusion is akatastasia. It sounds like katakata. It's katastasia in Greek. If you want to dine with demons and they'll block your signals from instructions from God, and so you're not able to make progress with your life, take on strife and unbelief. Unforgiveness. That's it. Jesus said in the last days, he said these things will happen. Men shall be offended. Many shall be offended. Then secondly, he said, men shall hate one another. 3, he said, men shall betray one another. 4, he said, and false prophets will rise. Let me explain why you need to make sure you don't do this. Number 6, which is unforgiveness. Once you get offended, you enter Satan's zone. You enter his authority. You come under his authority. Offense is Satan's bait. It's what he will use to block everything in your life once you get offended. Now, when you get offended, you enter hate. Hate there. Yeah? You enter hate. Hate there. The word of God says that he that hates a person or his brother is a murderer. He become an outcast. He become like somebody that, like a criminal. And the word hate there, we must understand, it means to love less. To love less. The way you love the person you like the least is a reflection of how you love God the most. Which means that God says that if you do not love man that you can see, how will you love God that you cannot see? Which means he's saying, how you love persons you like the least is a perfect reflection of how you love God the most. You will gauge how much you love the Lord from how you like people. So it's actually to detest. So Jesus said that men shall be offended. When they get offended, they will hate, which means they will like less. When they like less, they will betray. Betray there is not like what Judas did to Jesus. Betray means that every one of us, God gives us packages for other people. We came here to deliver from heaven what God gave us to man, which means our vertical relationship is reflected in our horizontal relationship. Once people hurt you and you get offended and you take the offense, what happens, which is leading to what you ask, what happens is that you begin to withdraw from them you hate. Once you do that, you begin to betray. You begin to practice you day your day and I day my day. Just day your day and day my day. You hear people say things like, I don't have issues with him. Just make it just day. Or I just do my own. Do you understand? Once you enter that zone, because love always gives, you stop loving. You stop giving. Once you enter that zone of offense and you take it, the last thing he says is that false prophets will rise. You're wondering, what does that really mean? It's simple. We are supernatural beings. For us to succeed in this natural realm, we get instructions, prophetic instructions from the supernatural realm. And once we get to a place where we start getting offended, hating and betraying, our signals become affected. Falseness begins to enter our prophetic edge. So we don't hear instructions with clarity anymore. That's why Jesus said, if you bring a gift to the altar, and you find that you have an issue with somebody, that you should leave your gift there, go and sort it out. When you look at all this, you know you cannot live with unforgiveness. So you need to make it clear that you are forgiving the person. But the issue with forgiveness, that sometimes when you forgive people, you find out that when you remember them, that animosity still rises inside you. That hurt still rises inside you. It is that hurt that naturally now leads to you feeling bad and being in sorrow throughout the period of your estrangement from the person. Forgiveness becomes the antidote where you're able to mutter every time you remember the person, I forgive Chiquita. I forgive Chiquita. Don't lie to yourself. Some people out of pride say, concern me now. Everything they there. But they're hurting and they're lying. It's pride. They're denying what is going on. Learn to say to yourself over and over, I've forgiven this person. The number 7, I would say, during that period, getting out of hurt, getting into a new company, getting back to vision, coming back to God, let Him give you new assignments. Every time you come back to God, He gives you new assignments. When you start doing those things, you still feel bad from time to time, but after a while, if it's truly from God, it will envelop you. Suddenly, after a while, you won't even remember. I've gone through these things, so I can talk about it. Do you understand? You can get to a place where you heal properly. Then number 8, what you don't want to do is, I didn't plan all this, I'm just, as it's coming, I'm saying it. Number 8, what you don't want to get into is rebounding into another relationship, which is what people do because they can't face how they feel. So they want to use somebody else to rebound. And that is wickedness. Because you still love the other person. You can't love the new person. And you can now press to have sexual relationship with that person to see whether you will number how you feel. It won't work. Because even when you do that, it will not heal what's happening. You need to go through that phase, heal completely before you can be ready for another person.
True. Thank you so much. This is huge. So I'm sure you, our listeners, have learned so much from this very inspiring and educative conversation. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir, for talking to us. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the patience. You talk to us with so much passion. Like, I am so inspired already, and I'm sure you two listening, you've been inspired to be a better version of yourself. Thank you so much, and till we come your way again, keep trusting God and living for God. God bless you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shakina. Appreciate it.
Shaki's The Expert Mix.
Working with Shaki's Baba is like icing on the cake. He is jovial and serious. He is patient. He just knows how to, dig deep to bring out the best in you. And when he takes up a project for you, he marries it like it's his wife. He doesn't just want to do something shabby because his reputation is on the line, but he gives it his all, and he's a very wonderful person to work with. And if you ever want to do something and you want your raw talent and creativity to be brought to the limelight, I suggest you look for Shaki's. He's the best.